Hey everybody, Garcia here, and today we're going to be defending the planet from an invading alien race in the solitaire game Under Falling Skies. This is a dice-driven game. It's kind of feels like a tower defense game in which you're going to be rolling those dice, selecting locations to activate with the dice, and every time you do that, the aliens start descending down onto your city from the sky, from the mothership, okay? So you have to manage how much you do. The larger the die face you place, the more they race down towards the surface of the city you are defending. So that's what it is. It's kind of a puzzly, dice manipulation game in which you try to win. I'm going to go ahead and tell you how it plays, show you how it works on the table. There is technically a campaign in here. I'm not going to show you that, okay? I'm not going to spoil any of the things that they sort of hide in the box, just in case you want to discover that for yourself. And, if you end up wanting the game, I think you should discover it for yourself. So let's take a look at it, and then we'll come on back. I'll tell you what I think of it. Here we're going to be taking a look at the game setup at its absolute simplest, okay? There is a lot in this box that you can use to customize the game. You can change the difficulty, you can change what cities you are playing, how it all works out, the extras, and you can even play a little campaign that comes in the box. But I'm going to be avoiding spoilers. I'm not going to show you any of that stuff. It's kind of fun to discover that on your own. So I am going to just be giving you general concepts here, and I think that'll be enough for you to know if this is something you might like to try, okay? So, the overview here is you have here a base that is below, in this case, Roswell, okay? And you are going to be developing that. You are going to be excavating that so that you have access to new rooms, and then using these dice to trigger some of those rooms and ultimately win the game. What are you trying to do? Well, you're trying to go up this scale over here, which denotes research. You also need to manage your energy in order to do many of these things, and you have to manage the fact that, well, there's a mothership out in space and it's deploying fighters towards the surface of Roswell, trying to destroy you. If we take a look here, we're going to scoot this down. We take a look here at what the rest of this looks like. You see at the top the mothership with the little fighters below that, and they'll be moving down these lanes trying to destroy you. Down over here on this side, that's your health. That's the city's health, right? If it gets all the way to the bottom, you're done. Also, the mothership itself will be descending down the sky, and if it ever gets to this spot right here next to it, you'll also be done. So let's go ahead and talk about all of those things in a little bit more detail, okay? I'm going to go ahead and scoot this back up again, and I'll bring it down when I need to explain something to you. This is just sort of a long, skinny game. So, before I explain what a turn would look like, a couple of things that you can change for variability. And this is really just, again, scratching the surface. This does not include a bunch of cities, a bunch of different, modules, different missions that are in the box that you can choose to play as a campaign, or you can just choose to mix up and play, okay? Here are things I can change to mess with the game and the difficulty. I can change out Roswell, all right? Roswell here has no power, but there are two cities that are not even part of the campaign, which are New York with a special ability, Washington, D.C. with a special ability, okay? I can flip these over as well. That means they've already been attacked once. The power is a little bit better. They're more resilient. That means it makes the game a little bit easier. You can flip over these sky tiles. You can do as many as you want, but on the other side, they're going to be a little bit more difficult, okay? They have this sort of pattern over here with the gloopy-looking purple stuff. That means it's more difficult. So there's that as well. And again, you could do 2 of these, and then the game's really difficult. 3 is, quite difficult, all that. So be aware that there's a lot of different ways to mess around with that. Let's go ahead and take a look at what a turn would be. I'm going to roll the dice. And these dice are 3 gray ones, 2 white ones. And then I'm going to assign a die to something out here. The different rooms do a couple of different things, all right? These are anti-aircraft guns. All they do is reduce the value of the die by 1 when the ships descend. I'll explain that in a sec. This is going to be fighters, which are going to shoot these guys out of the sky. This is research itself, help you move up on this track. This is energy. And there are some rooms that are double rooms. You need to just occupy both with 2 dice in order to have them work. Now, another thing to be aware of, you have to put a die in every column in here. So if I put a die there, I cannot put anything above or below it for this round. That one's locked there. And every time you put a die out, you're going to descend the ships in that lane, the number on the die. Unless, again, it's in one of the AA guns up here in which you lower the number by 1. So, again, if I put that there, the ships in that column drop by 5, not 6. All right? But that's all it does. It doesn't really have a good benefit. So let's take a look, shall we? I'm going to go ahead and put out a die, and I'm going to put it right there. Okay? And now we take a look up here. And the ship in that column, which is this one, is going to drop down by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some of these spots up here have little symbols. So, for example, if it had been 5 instead of 4, he goes to that little arrow. Arrow's pointing this way. So once he's done moving, he scoots over to that spot. A little unpredictable, right? Sometimes you'll see these little explosions in the sky with a number below them. Those don't do anything right now, but if you attack with the fighters down here, while these guys are in those spots, you might be able to shoot them out of the sky, all right? Otherwise, you can't hurt them. They need to be sitting on those spots for you to shoot them down. And then there are also these spots that have a mothership symbol. Whenever you land with one of the bad fighters lands on that spot, the mothership descends down by 1, but it does not trigger the thing next to it. Thankfully. It just moves a little closer to the city, which is still usually quite bad. So there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes to there. And then I add another die. Okay, I pick another one of these, and I am going to add it somewhere. Now, one more thing to be aware of is you need to excavate the rest of this out, or at least as much as you think you should, okay? Because right now I only have available everything above the excavator. But if I put a die below the excavator, it denotes I'm digging a little bit more. So for example, let's say I want to dig my way 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to there. I'm going to put a 5 after the excavator to there. I'm going to drop the ship in the matching column. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lands on a mothership. This will descend. All right. And then once I get to the second phase in which I resolve all this, we're going to deal with that. So I did that one. There's only 1 die after the excavator for digging, okay? That's it. Now I have to place out the rest of these. One final thing I want to mention is whenever you put out a white die, say I do it there and I go 1, 2, 3, I re-roll what's left. So that's a good way to manipulate everything. I'm going to drop that one there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And I re-roll this one because that was white. Put it there as well. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got it? Okay, that's phase 1. I'm going to go ahead and move this for a sec. I know it's just one below the very tippy top, okay? But we're going to take it and we're going to flip it over and look at it. So we already did the first part. We assigned all the dice. We dropped the ships as they were being assigned, all of that stuff. That already happened. That's called the dice phase. Now we're going to do the rooms phase, in which we trigger all of these things. Okay? Let's take a look at that. I'm going to go ahead and put this back, and we are going to trigger things. Anything up at the top, the AA guns, they're done. They did what they were going to do. These other ones all will do something. Now, the excavator takes 1 energy to dig its way to wherever it's intending to go. So I'll spend 1 energy, and he's going to go and dig all the way to there. All right? This one here takes 2 energy. It shows me below the room. I don't have that right now, so I better make some energy first. I'll combine these 2. They total 10. but the room does show me that I'm taking a 3-point penalty, so it's actually 7, and I would gain 7. Well, the max I can take, okay? And then I'll spend 2, and then I'll use this 4 sitting right here in research to move 3, and 1 more is 4, so I'm at that level now. These guys are done, and that's it for the rooms phase. Pretty straightforward. And now we are going to go into the final phase. We're going to look back over here right now, and that one tells us about the mothership, okay? So in the mothership phase, it is going to scoot down by 1, boom, and then do whatever the effect is that it is pointing to with that little arrow right there on the side. In this case, it is backing up the excavator 2 spots. Oh no, so we are actually back here now. Sometimes it adds these white ships to the ones coming towards us. Sometimes it's going to pull us back on the research track. It'll hurt our city, all sorts of things like that. And that's it. Now we redeploy ships. If there were any just sitting on the mothership, we'd place them again in these lanes, and we roll, and we keep going. Again, your objective is this. Running that all the way up to the big number right here. If you get in there, you win. If the mothership points at this skull, or your city cube drops all the way down to that skull, then you're going to lose. And that's it. I make it sound like it's not very much, but there's actually a lot of little things going on in this game, and I'm not even explaining necessarily every little thing. Now, like I said, if we take a look right here, what I just showed you is that, okay? There's also chapters, 4 sort of, scenarios, if you would, that you will play through as a campaign, if you want to. Or you can just, crack them open and grab a new city. Each one has a few cities. Each one has some scenarios, some new tiles in the sky, new rooms down here, all sorts of things, just new rules as well. So you can do that. But ideally, the first time you do it, you want to go through this as though it's a campaign. And it'll tell you the rules for, gaining and losing things. You'll use one of these to give it a name, figure out the city you're defending, what the scenario is called, and a character who's going to help you. Then you'll do it again, and then you'll do it for different cities, and then have a final score, okay? I've got one going here. I'm just going to show you a little bit of, so that you can see what's going on. It's quite tough. I did lose Mexico City here at the top. I lost it twice. You fight it twice, and both times I lost, so the city was lost to me. And then I defended Montreal once and lost, and then I defended them again, and I did win that time. All right. So that's all I'm going to show you for that. So there you go. Quite a bit in there with all of that content and a lot of ways to change the difficulty and the variability in the game. So let's wrap it up, shall we? I think you hopefully have a good grasp on kind of what's going on with this tower defense, lane defense idea going on over here. The dice manipulation, managing your energy, trying to race up this track, all that good stuff. Let's go back up top and let me tell you what I think of it. That is Under Falling Skies. I've played quite a bit of this. I've played, actually, you might have seen me play live a couple of times if you've been watching the channel. So you might already have known what how the game played, what sort of the whole thing was about. So let's go ahead and get to my thoughts. Yeah, here's what I think of it. The theme I really enjoy, and I like the sci-fi thing. I like it's a tower defense game, kind of, like I said, but it doesn't really feel that way necessarily. You'd have to sort of, look through it a little bit to see that idea of, oh yeah, guys are coming, I need to repel them, I gotta set things in place. It's not a typical tower defense game anyway. But I like the theme. I think it's captivating, it's engaging, it's interesting. I love, alien invasion type stuff anyway, sci-fi stuff. This one does a good job of putting you in that world and giving you the reins and saying, here you go, defend the planet, right? The aesthetics I also like. It's good quality components. Icons are very clear all over the board and the different parts of the game. The rule book is missing a couple of things. It's very much missing one icon explanation that doesn't show up anywhere, and it's missing maybe an FAQ would have been nice. So just a little more clarification once you start digging into some of those missions in the campaign. I was left scratching my head at least a couple of times where I was thinking to myself, man, I wish this was explained a little more thoroughly, yeah? So there is that. Not enough to drop it for me, and you'll find that I say that a lot. Like, oh, I don't like this thing. Not enough to drop it from a positive to a neutral, but still, overall, positive, okay? The replay value is superb. And that's not just because the variability is there, right? The idea of like setup variability, different cities, different difficulties, all of that stuff. That's great. It's also just the way the game plays out. It's very replayable because it's dice driven. Things are just going to go in so many different ways. There are so many different missions that demand different things of you as to how you defend the city, what you do, how you categorize what's most important at any given moment. So suffice it to say, replayability here is tremendous. If you end up getting into this game, you will get your money's worth. You're going to play a lot of it, okay? Game arc is pretty good. It's a well-paced game. It's got good rising tension towards the end. It's usually a nail-biter. You can normally get very close to winning if you don't win. I like that. That indicates that that it works out well, right? That it's been play-tested a lot. It is very repetitive, unfortunately. I think you are going to... This is not the kind of game for me anyway, where like if I feel like going through the campaign or just playing a bunch of games, I'm probably not going to play a lot of it in a row. It's just repetitive. Even once, you might be like, yeah, come on, you know what I mean? Let's get it done. That's just, I think, the nature of tower defense games in general. And if you've played those video games or board games based on those kinds of games, I think you know what I'm talking about, okay? Ease of play. I wish that they would have given you... It's good. I think the ease of play is high. I wish they would have given us a player aid, this thing, elsewhere, and not just printed on this. I don't like playing with this. Like you can reverse the mothership, right? So this is the mothership with the ships, their locations right there. You can just reverse this, and then you have a player aid there that slowly kind of like, as the mothership drops, makes its way towards you. I wish they would have given me another one of these somewhere where I can just throw that in front of me. It's not on the back of the rule book as this is there. So that's a small thing. It's right here, yes, but this is on the table. I can't grab this and look at it, especially if your eyesight is not fantastic. That's a problem. Another one of these on anything. It's not like there wasn't enough cardboard in there, believe me, that you were just kind of throwing away. So another one of those would have been good, but other than that, there's a lot of little rules. You might forget to do stuff like, wait, did I lower that ship already? I placed a die. Wait, I got to pay the energy. Oh, no. I mean, the ease of play, the game is smooth, right? But there are a ton of little steps. And you don't have, like I said, that player aid right in your face, which would be helpful. Lastly, tactics, strategy, luck. It's a puzzly game. In many ways, it's a thinky game. But it would be silly to say that the game does not have gallons and gallons of luck. It is a very lucky game. I have won or lost many a game on a final die roll, where I'm like one click away from winning, but if I roll something on that final, like I placed a white die, I have a gray die left, and I know if I roll higher than a 2 on it, I have to place it, and that ship's going to crash onto my city, and it's going to lower my health by 1. That's the final click. So it comes down to a die roll. Do I roll a 1 or a 2? I win. I don't, I lose. That happens a fair amount. It's not rare. So while the experience is fun, by managing the little things along the way, I don't know if you can reliably say you win or lose without taking into account that there's just a really, really healthy amount of, luck in it. So just be aware of that. I think if you are someone who you might find the dice manipulation, dice management in the game a bit questionable is what I'm saying. If you are used to like Stefan Feld dice manipulation, which is very generous, right? That's what I'm saying. Be mindful of that. Having said all of that, and as my wrap up here, I like this one a lot. As you saw, there was a lot of positives, right? I don't think it's the best solitaire game I've ever played, but I think it's one that has a lot in there, and there's a lot of variability, and you can definitely, if you get into it, you're going to be playing a lot of it. So yes, I like it. I definitely recommend it for solo gamers. You're looking for a pure solitaire game, one that's got a cool sci-fi theme, is fairly quick to play. It's going to give you a lot of moments of puzzliness and thinkiness. This is a good one. It's going to get, from me, an 8 out of 10. So yes, I recommend it. I am keeping this copy. So that's going to be it for me, everybody. That is Under Falling Skies. Check this one out, my solitaire playing peeps. And I'm going to see you on the next one. My name is Garcia. You've been watching The Dice Tower. See ya.